If you're planning to go on vacation or just traveling away from home, I'm going to help you find a church no matter where you're going in the world. Now, I have 4 steps for you to follow to find a great church, but before we do that, we have to answer the question, why?
Why do we have to go to the church?
Well, the foundational reason comes from Hebrews chapter 10, which says, "And let us consider how to stir one another up to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." The author of Hebrews warns against the dangers of neglecting church, which some were in the bad habit of doing.
It's a bad habit.
Church is not just about taking in a sermon or singing songs to God, but it's about encouraging the saints, which requires your physical presence, which is why you can't just lay back in the hotel room and stream a service. So ask yourself, do other Christians need your encouragement while you're still on vacation?
Oh, sure they do.
Do you still need to be spiritually fed and nourished on vacation?
That's a yes.
Does God still deserve his praise and adoration while you're on vacation?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
On top of that, going to church on vacation will be a powerful witness to your kids, to your friends, to your family that you may be traveling with, as it shows what your priorities are. It's an important statement that while you believe that you need a vacation from work, you don't need a vacation from God and being with his people. Now, before I give you the steps on how to find a good church, I just want to quickly recommend this book to you, Why Bother with Church by Sam Allberry. It's under 100 pages long, and it will help you go more in depth on this topic, covering topics like, why church, how to find a good one, and what makes a good church member. So you can get it right here on Amazon. The link is in the YouTube description. You can buy it on paperback or start reading today on Kindle. Now, in order to find a good church on vacation, I have 4 steps for you, and the very first one is covering the practical considerations. Now, this point covers the basic things such as the location of the church as well as the time of the service. Now, if I'm going on vacation or traveling, the first thing I do is I look up where I'm going to be staying on Google Maps. Now, from there, I just kind of get a good feel of the area so that I know, how big of an area it is and, where I could possibly go to church. So this is the time to ask yourself practical questions such as, am I going to have access to a vehicle? Do I need to find a church that is in walking distance? Am I willing to grab an Uber or a taxi to get to church? So ask yourself these types of questions so that you can know, how far that you can travel from where you're staying. It's also important to wonder, because of your schedule, are you able to go to an early morning service? What if it's an afternoon service? A lot of church plants or people who rent out buildings, they meet in the mid-afternoon. Or how about an evening service? So do you have the flexibility in your schedule to go no matter what time the service is, or do you need it to be during a particular time window? So asking yourself these practical questions will help you to narrow down how many options you truly have to choose from when picking a church. Now, step number 2 is to do a geographic church search based on the bubble of where you're going to be staying that you're able to attend church to. So in order to do this, what I do is I apply a church search, and I use 2 websites. The first one is the 9 Marks Church Search, and the other is the Gospel Coalition's Church Directory. So wherever I'm going to be staying, I recently was in Las Vegas, so I would put in Las Vegas here, and I'd find some options there, as well as they're lit up on the map there. You can zoom in, find more, more specifically where you are. I also do the same thing on the Gospel Coalition. Put in Las Vegas within, let's just say 20 miles. And press search, and then I'll be given some options as well. So you can see different ones that pop up right here, shows me where they are, and here is a list as well with some more information if you just click on a random one. Now, while these 2 are more broad and will give you different options from different denominations, if you're a part of a specific denomination or you want to attend that one, you can go to your denomination's website and they will often have a church search filter as well. So this is mine right here. I'm just putting in Las Vegas, and you can see I have 2 options for my particular denomination. Now, if you still can't find what you're looking for, I do have one more option, and that is to use Google Maps. So you put in the area that you're going to be in, right here, Las Vegas. You can also get more specific. Click on nearby and put in church, and you'll be given, a lot of different churches that you can possibly visit. Now, While the other church searches and obviously your denomination's website is going to filter them through, so it's not just giving you every single option. The upside of Google Maps is it's going to give you far more options than are available on these church search finders. But the downside is that they're also going to be much more broad and including a lot more unhealthy, unorthodox, and even Christian cults mixed in as well. So you have to do far more discernment if you're going to be looking on Google Maps. The next step is to browse the websites of the churches that you have on your list. If you're not able to find a website for them, you can also try looking them up on social media. Now, when you're on these websites, what you're looking for are two different things. You're looking for signs of health for you to keep them on your list, as well as red flags for you to potentially take them off your list. Some of the red flags that I look for are inclusive and woke language. I'm also looking for rainbow flags or anything like that, as well as if they have a female pastor. Those are things that would make me take them off their list. So for example, on this particular one right here, you can see their logo for their Facebook page is in the rainbow flag colors. We're seeing inclusive language. It doesn't matter if you're lesbian, gay, bisexual, asexual, our message of an inclusive God, if you're a person of a different faith or no faith. So very inclusive language, woke language, rainbow flags, things like this. This would be one, if it was on my list, that I would take off. Now, some of the signs of health that I look for is exalted language of God, showing that they have a reverence for God. I also look for, key topics or words, talking about the centrality of the gospel, the mission of God, the authority of scripture, something that shows that they really take their faith seriously and have a high view of God. I'm also paying attention to the denomination that they're a part of, as well as any ministry networks that they're a part of or organizations that they support as well. So for example, on this particular one here under our mission, it says that their mission is to reach the lost by proclaiming God's salvation, be transformed with Christ, looking around, Jesus as a center, the centrality of Christ. Things like these are positive signs that show that the church might be healthy. Now for our fourth and final step, it's time to narrow down our options. This is where we take the list of good options that we have and we narrow it down to one single option of where we're going to attend church on Sunday. Now, in order to do this is where we start to consider the secondary issues that are important to us. This is much more about us as an individual, not what makes a healthy or a bad church for everyone, but of what is important to you. So, for example, do you prefer a high church experience with a formal liturgy where minister is wearing vestments, or do you like a relaxed, open atmosphere where they would have a band that is singing modern worship songs? Those are the types of things to consider when you're choosing and trying to narrow it down to one particular option. Another question to ask is, do you want to find a church that's exactly like where you worship at home? Or would you like to use your vacation time to experience how another denomination worships to get, more of a broader picture of the body of Christ? So be aware of what specifically you're looking for, and then spend some more time on the good options of those websites that you found and kind of narrow them down to see if they fit. This is the point in the process where if you would like to listen to a sermon, it's especially helpful to go back over a previously recorded service. That way you can kind of see the entire service to see what it will be like when you attend. And then once you've chosen your church, put it on your calendar and plan to go on Sunday. If you are going to go to a very small church, another thing you might want to consider doing is shooting an email to the church or the pastor to let them know where you're coming from and the fact that you'll be there on Sunday. Smaller churches tend to appreciate when you do that. Now, to show you what they look like for me, recently my son and I went on a trip to Las Vegas, and so I applied these same steps to find a church for us to attend while we were there. Now, for me, one of my secondary things that I was looking for was I really wanted to have a worship service where they use the Book of Common Prayer as its liturgy. So a broad church search or using Google Maps wasn't going to be helpful for me. I started with using the denomination of the Anglican Church America's Church Finder. And that helped me to find some congregations that they had that were near our hotel. We weren't in walking distance to one, but since that was important to me, we decided to rent an Uber so that we could go there. This is the church that we ended up choosing for ourselves, St. Martin's Anglican Church in Las Vegas, and we had a fantastic time. What you're looking at right now is my son and I at the altar taking communion, which was filmed during their live stream. We worshiped with the believers there and then stayed afterwards to fellowship over watermelon on a hot Las Vegas summer day. So it was a great experience for us, and my hope is that you would find a great church to attend on vacation as well. Now, leave a comment below and let me know some of your red and green flags that you look for when you're browsing church websites. I'm sure it'll be a help to other people as they're looking as well. Thanks so much.